Hey bitches, guess who's getting bottom surgery? Again.
Is it someone who got conned?
Actually, I'm here getting a revision surgery.
Why does it need to be revised?
You're confused. I'm transgender, and like 3.5 months ago, I got bottom surgery, so my PP got turned into a VV, you know?
I don't.
And now I'm getting a second surgery, and you may be wondering, why?
I think I can guess.
Original punani surgery was in Philadelphia with Dr. Kathy Rumor.
So you're in this situation because you believed a rumor?
5 months ago, I got bottom, and the surgery went well, but
Nightmarish and predictable complications in 3, 2, 1.
I did have a few complications afterward. For starters, my vaginal canal developed a lot of granulation tissue or excess scar tissue, and it's really painful.
So they took this person's penis, they flayed it, they hollowed it out, they split open the urethra and also split open this outer tube to make it a bigger tube. And then they tucked it up inside. They just kind of shoved it up and waited for it to heal normally. But of course, it's not going to heal normally. Why would it heal normally? Why would it heal evenly? Why would it not just turn into this dried out, crinkled mess of an old chips bag up in there, but calcified and cemented to all of the muscles of the hip that have to move and shift in order for this person to ambulate, i.e. not going to heal.
And I can't dilate. And if you don't know what dilating is, it's the process of sticking a surgical dilator inside my vagina so that it doesn't.
I'll pause it right there. Welcome back, S𝕏ulansic. Hopefully I said that pretty close to right.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. That's one of your videos. Very well done. You can go find her on Twitter and find it. I also got scrolling across the bottom the Substack and your Twitter page there where they can find you and everything. So you had a little trip this week.
Yeah, we went to detrans Day, and that was March 12th. It's March 12th every year since 2021. We got it trending on Twitter too. So we met with some legislators. We had some press conferences. We networked and supported each other and shared experiences, and took in some of the sites, like a White House tour the last day, and otherwise try to bring our message out.
You had some fun?
Yeah, I would say we had some fun, yeah.
Your group's growing pretty big now, right? You've added to it?
There were definitely a number of people. There were some new faces that I hadn't met before in DC. How big the overall movement, I'm not sure, because I know that there's various detrans Day events in different areas. Like there was also one in LA, in California. I'm not sure if there was one in Sacramento this year. The last couple of years, that's the one I've gone to, is the Sacramento one.
Oh, they have them all on the same day.
Yeah, March 12th.
Oh, okay. I thought you'd all go to DC at the same time and that kind of stuff. So,
well, not everyone can travel that far.
It does seem like you're gaining ground on your what you're doing. Definitely. Do you feel it? Do you feel momentum? And although you still got like the governor of Maine and Newsom, who's trying to become moderate now, all of a sudden. Now he says that, well, there is an advantage of a guy playing in women's sports, but he's not going to keep him from doing it, right?
I do think that there's some momentum. I think that a lot more people are feeling comfortable questioning whether it's fair to have men and women's sports, and whether it's just a function of hormones. I like to think that my content contributed to that, raising awareness of the fact that there's a category difference between men and women, that the Y chromosome confers a number of advantages independent of testosterone, and that it will never be fair, and that women's sports aren't participation trophies and aren't the Paralympics for men who are not competitive, whether because of nature or because of drugs they took against other men.
They're cheating.
Yeah, it's cheating.
Yeah. Well, there's a difference also in the muscles and the fat. That women's muscles and fat are marmoladed, and guys it's separated. so it helps them with sprint events and fast twitch muscles and vice versa, right? Is that correct?
Right. Yeah. So they can generate a lot more explosive power in a short period of time. And force equals mass times acceleration. Men have more mass and they have more acceleration. So they're able to exert more force at the same height and weight. It's never going to be fair. And they can do that in every direction. They also have longer limbs. And the strength of a muscle is a function of its length as well as its width, not just its width. It's not just a function of the bulk you can put on at the gym, but it's the fundamental length of the muscle, which is a function of the length of the limbs. And even men who are androgen insensitive, they have no response to testosterone. They still have longer limbs because of the Y chromosome.
Yeah. And some of them are kind of trying to turn themselves into freaks, practically trying to do it. It seems like, doesn't it? You've seen a lot of really strange stuff that they're doing to their bodies, and they're going to die young because of it, aren't they?
Oh, I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say. I do believe certainly a lot of them have died young already. And certainly they tell them that they may have shortened lifespans because of various factors. They tell women that for sure. I know that for a fact that women are told that our lifespans will be shorter, but it will only shorten to what's average for men, which is not something that they actually know. It's just part of the larger con that if you take this drug, then your wish will come true and you'll be a man. You'll be a real boy. You'll get your Pinocchio fantasy granted. And so it's but even if they were correct and it was shortening their lifespan only to the level of a male, that's like 7 years of life lost. And there's no guarantee that you're going to be as healthy at that point that you die at that 7 years shorter that you would have been at that age otherwise. So you might be losing even more years of healthy life.
Well, bone structure and harms on women, right? Strength in a lot of them, and also the brain that damages, right?
fMRI studies have shown that there is a correlation between starting the estrogen and androgen blockers for male to females and accelerated rate of brain shrinkage after a period of months.
John, I did see that. Someone said on your page that you had posted, and I remember this, about the high school athletes being as good or a little bit better than the Olympic level women.
Yeah.
On the boys and stuff like that.
Yeah, men on the edge of puberty, as boys on the edge of puberty will rapidly exceed the best female athletes of any age and skill level.
Oh yeah,
in all but a couple sports. I think long distance swimming we have an advantage due to higher body fat.
Higher body fat.
And I think also ultra long distance running. Women also
ultra long distance. I've seen that, like if it's over 100
though.
miles and stuff like that.
Yeah,
they can.
Yeah, you have to be running for a long time, and that's just because of higher body fat.
Yeah, also the fat and the muscle, something to do with the fat and muscle being separated. They can still get energy from the fat being close to the muscles there, where the guys can't get it anymore after so many miles. They had that with horses too. I've seen something about horses can only run so far, and a human can outrun them on a real long distance. Did you know that or no?
Yeah, I mean, humans evolved to outrun our prey. So that's how we would hunt, is just a group of humans would just pick a large animal, and the large animal would outrun us in the short distances, but eventually it would tire and need to rest, and we would outrun it because
that's
we evolved for that purpose. That's why we walk upright. That's why we don't have body hair, is so we can expel the heat from this long distance running more easily.
The lion takes down some of the prey by keep chasing them, and keep chasing them. And they do it in a pack, type thing, and the wolves and stuff like that too. What do I say here? Okay, what do you think of the Democrats voting? Not one of them voted for getting guys out of women's sports.
I didn't follow that one, but I'm not surprised.
In Congress, every
really
single
have
one.
taken in a lot of ideology, and now they see it as like core to their identity as Democrats, as supporting trans rights.
They're losing a lot of people because of that. And you were a Democrat at one time.
Yeah, I was a lifelong Democrat. I consider myself more independent now. Ever since they hung up on me for giving the wrong answer to what was important to me politically when they called me a couple years ago.
Explain that one. Who called you, and what was it all about?
they called me and they said, what issues are going to be important to you this election? And I think it
was
wasn't
one
even like a
robocalls
presidential, I think it
or
was a
something?
midterm. And they said that they asked me what issues were important, and I was said I don't agree with gender surgeries for children, for minors. I don't agree with that, and I don't agree with men and women's prisons. And at first, she misheard me and tried to reassure me that Democrats do care about giving gender surgeries to kids. And I was like, no, I don't like that. I think you shouldn't do that. And she hung up on me. She couldn't even engage with me. It's like she concluded instantly
got
that I must
triggered.
not be a real Democrat.
She got triggered, huh?
Yeah.
You didn't try to call them
They
back.
got their marching orders. They don't actually want to hear from their party members.
Do you ever see those things where all of them saying the exact same thing the next morning after their memos go out? And Lee Lynn is left to left. She used to raise a lot of money for the Democrats. She's really upset that Harris there spent altogether $2.5 billion and still was 20 million in debt, and it still didn't do very well. How do you spend that much on a campaign? It's unheard of to me. They got to be handing out cash left and right all over the place to be doing that kind of money. If you stack that up, it'd probably go almost to the moon. That much money, I don't know. It's insane amounts, you know.
The amount of money that they talk about for these things is just so unimaginable to me, and I think, and like pretty much every other American, they're out of touch.
They're buying people off
too. They don't know what we actually care about as American people.
Yeah. Now, out in California, things getting better there on the whole trans issue and family issues and
well, Newsom came out and said that he was like reconsidering the men and women's sports thing and whether that was fair. It's a little bit too late. Too late.
Well, I think he's going to run for
politician
president.
that supported putting men and women's sports should ever be forgiven for that or allowed to have their moment, because they had a chance to defend women's rights and they failed. And women were always half their constituency.
Well, it's not very popular in that. Someone left a comment here. So a bunch of comments. Maybe I'll put them up on the screen here. Can you see them from there?
Mm-hmm.
These are all coming through Twitter because X. Well, he's a man. Anyone? You got on your Twitter 160 watching.
Yes, I is a man. The video we played at the beginning.
Yeah. So whatever ended up happening with that surgery that I was playing, I still got it up there if you wanted to play more of it. Did they get fixed?
I had to go get a revision and had some other problems related to it, and I've done a couple follow-ups on Zaya.
Yeah.
That are available on my platforms.
Now there was someone that posted a video, something about they happen to have the Y chromosome also, and they can't do chin-ups and all this and that. They're trying to claim or something like that. They were saying, and they're actually a woman.
Oh yeah, so that was a person who is on TikTok alleging that they have 46XY KISE, which is complete androgen insensitivity syndrome, formerly called testicular feminization syndrome. It's a male disorder of sexual development. And so what happens is that they have a mutation on their X chromosome that makes them insensitive to the testosterone produced by their testes. And as a result, they look very feminine. And so it's been my contention for a number of years now that a lot of trans ideology, it began in the medical establishment related to the medical management of disorders of sexual development, including especially KISE. And so this person was coming onto TikTok to say that there's no Y chromosome advantage, and Iman Khalif had no advantage. The Olympic boxer from last year, whose chromosomes changed because he spent too much time in the mountains or whatever. That person, that there's no genetic advantage to being male because this individual has male genetics, but they're not able to do pull-ups. It's like, well, that's because of a problem with your X chromosome. It's not because of a problem with the male genetics. So they still have a male advantage, but it's outweighed by a disability disadvantage. So, women's sports are not the Special Olympics for disabled men.
Yeah. That's why you don't.
The fact that they're not competitive against other men is not a reason to force women to be humiliated and to lose honors by competing against men.
Or get hurt. Yeah, in some cases
You know,
that's happened. You've seen in that lacrosse thing or field hockey. Field hockey, that one woman got her face smashed in by a ball that a guy hit. Shooting it. Did you
yeah.
see that one?
I didn't see that one. I saw the volleyball player that got the brain injury from the volleyball being spiked. Peyton McNabb is her name, and even a mild concussion can be very devastating to your life, to your dreams, to your social life, to your reputation, because it gives rise to unexpected social behavior, judgment issues. It's not fair to force women to get brain injuries so that men don't have to admit that they're men.
That's why you don't have 20-year-olds playing in 10-year-old leagues. It's cheating.
Right?
Yeah. Well,
It's
I
like
guess
that guy that was saying, I'm not pretending to be someone else just because I have a female on my license. It's not like I'm pretending to be a different age. Well, what would be the problem with that, sir? If it's not pretending to have female on there, why is it pretending? Maybe you look younger than you are. Maybe we should just change your license to say that you're younger than you are. Who's it hurting? Oh, people who are that age. That's who it's hurting.
Yeah, it's also cheating. Now they took away the swimming medal from the one dude there that was going against Ronnie Gaines and stuff like that. Did you see that or no?
Oh, I didn't see that, but that's wonderful.
They took away the
That's true.
gold medal from him, and she got it, and that's the right thing. Like 3 years, 4 years too late. I don't know, something like
Right.
that. Now that one that got hit in the face, it caved her face in, and this is a few years back, and she got attacked online because of her coming out and trying to say something. So she went underground and didn't say anything anymore. And actually,
That's what happens.
she lost her eyesight in her one eye, and it caved in part of her face, and she had to have reconstructive surgery several times, actually.
Right. Because men are evolved to fight other men. So they have a lot of evolutionary changes affecting the Y chromosome that are about allowing them to take blows from the excessive strength of other males. And we see this across species. It's not just in humans that this happens. And so when you allow males to exert physical force against females, you see these more severe injuries because we didn't evolve to fight.
Nature made us different.
Yeah,
absolutely. And we think different. Like a male's brain, both sides don't communicate well. Women's do. They recover from strokes better than guys do. Did you know that, or know that one side of the brain can communicate with the other side?
I do know that the SRY gene has been implicated in different levels of susceptibility to certain kinds of brain injury. Yeah, because the SRY gene doesn't just make testes during development and then it turns off forever. It's active in many organs throughout the lifespan. It also makes men more vulnerable to liver injury because it turns on in the liver in response to some kinds of liver inflammation.
So they have liver disease easier or something?
Yeah, you're just more likely to have more severe liver injuries from like certain poisonings, things like that.
Oh, okay. Like they're trying to do to us.
Because of the SRY activation.
Yeah.
But it's also been implicated. I believe in the brain it was implicated as having some sort of a it turned on in response to inflammation of the basal ganglia. I was looking into it in terms of trying to understand the sex differences in Parkinson's at one point. I wrote about it on my Substack, but it was a couple years ago.
Now, a lot of these people that are doing trans, when they get older and they get dementia and stuff like that, do they remember that they're even trans, or do they revert back?
I mean, it would probably depend on the individual, but eventually, anybody with dementia, if they survive long enough, is going to forget things that they concluded later in life. Yeah,
and stuff like that. A few comments there. So, how was your whole trip? And did you met with Congress people? Is there new bills coming out and things like that that people should support and stuff like that?
I'm not sure about specific bills off the top of my head, but there was a Gen Spec press conference that Laura Becker and Forrest, whose last name escapes me right now, were speaking at. Laura had top surgery and testosterone and then detransitioned later, and now speaks out against it. And she's very open about her trauma that led her to think that this was the right thing to do.
You're talking about Malaya, are you?
Who? No, I'm talking about Laura Becker.
Yeah, Laura Becker, and there was someone else you said?
Someone named Forrest, whose name escapes me. I don't know his last name.
Oh, okay.
Forrest is a man who I believe he said he was homeless at the time, and they put him on estrogen and did orchiectomy and gave him breast implants. And then he also later detransitioned. He was like, I think 19 when they did that to him.
How'd they talk him into that?
He was very unwell and,
Oh.
and part of a zeitgeist.
Oh,
And then we also got to go to a press conference with Dan Crenshaw, where Chloe Cole spoke, and along with a few others.
mhm. My audience don't like him for other issues, but that's not on that issue. I'm
I
sure.
honestly don't know much about him because he's a Texas representative, and I'm in California. It's my
Oh,
first time
okay.
being aware of his existence, but I was very impressed by what he said in that particular press conference
Yeah,
about
that's
detrans stuff specifically.
pretty much on the Republican side. Every one of them is against this. Totally. Like Laura Bobart, Nancy. Trying to think of her last name.
Nancy Mace.
Mace. That's it.
Yeah.
Her name.
I mean, she's a hero at this point.
There you go. You didn't want guys in your bathroom. Was there ever a time when you were transing that you were trying to go into a men's room yourself?
No, I always use the women's room.
You still did even back then. You weren't that far along on that. So you could get hurt in there if you run into the wrong dude in there. I mean, so some of them would be like 3 times your weight and body size. I think. I don't.
I mean, men's rooms are gross. I
Oh,
genuinely think that the only reason somebody would
how'd you
want to
know
do that is
that?
if they were motivated by a paraphilia.
Yeah, they are gross. Absolutely. I used to work in a restaurant business, and the guys are filthier when it comes to bathrooms. And I worked at a party house, and they'd have the suite for the women, bridesmaid area, and all that. That was really fancily built, and the guys had like a urinal and a toilet, something like that for the men's room. They don't spend a lot of extra time in there, and the women do their hair and everything a long time in there. Long story short, and all that. I don't know if you've been to too many weddings, but definitely that room would be crowded for sure for that kind of stuff. I got a few comments here. I don't know how it works when people see the type or not. What you type? I don't get it. Let's see the next one. Dilemma trans identify fades away. Does it fade away? Did it fade away for you, kind of, or?
Oh, I don't have dementia, but yeah, if you get dementia, then your later years you lose first, and then you're eventually people, if they live long enough, are childlike, and then beyond that, they're just very mechanistic. There comes a point where they're very mechanistic, and they might only have a couple behaviors. One common behavior is screaming for help repetitively.
Oh, just
when
help,
they don't need
help,
just
help.
because they're impaired and they don't have any memory of why they're there.
Yeah, they don't realize where they are either a lot of times, right?
Yeah, so it's just a continual loop. But as they become more demented, then their attention span and memory gets shorter and shorter and shorter. They don't just lose the memories; their actual ability to form new memories gets shorter and shorter and shorter. And so eventually, they're just on this really rapid loop of help, 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 and they will. That's all they'll do
all day.
And then there's another kind of dementia that's is typically more stable that you can get from alcoholism, and it's called alcoholic dementia, but you can actually get various types of dementia from alcoholism. So this is a specific kind that's also called Wernicke-Korsakoff syndrome, and that I think is the scariest type of dementia for me, that I would want to have the least, because you have your faculties for about like the one I worked with that really impressed this upon me could get about an hour of memory, and he could remember his life leading up to when he got the dementia, which was from a brain injury, metabolic injury. And he could socialize, he could talk, he could form new memories within that hour. And so he just spent his life trying to figure out why nobody would help him get out of this nursing home, and nobody would help him get home. So, and you couldn't even really, like, you could try to explain to him his situation, but he would forget after about an hour. So it was just awful. Like, I would never want to be like that.
Dennis, I can't remember the two theories you're talking about. So I mentioned anything about the 2 theories I messaged you about. I don't remember, Dennis. Someone in the audience there. Yeah. So you left this thing. You're going to do another one next year. What's a ground game or anything going on, stuff like that? Is there any of that going on
for next year? What do you mean?
Oh yeah, between now and next year, what the goals?
There's going to be for women. There's Women's Declaration International Conference is coming up in September. There's also
Where's
going
that
to
at?
be that's going to be in Indianapolis this year.
Oh, okay.
And there's also going to be the GenSpect conference is going to be in I believe Albuquerque, but I'm not sure which weekend. WDI is scheduled for the September 19th to the 21st. Those are the two that I am aware of off the top of my head. There's also going to be RadFem Summer Camp. That's going to be in either June or July, and I believe it's hosted by Wolf, the Women's Liberation Front, which is another feminist organization, and that's another women's only conference.
Will that be on the trans issue or not?
I mean, it's a radical feminist conference that Wolf does a lot of work to get men out of women's prisons. So we do discuss the trans issue.
Oh, okay.
But I think that event is going to be more about women's solidarity and women's camaraderie and broader. So WDI also has a lot of radical feminist content, whereas GenSpect, it has some feminist content, but it also has a lot of content that's not really geared towards that at all, but still is addressing the trans issue. And so I appreciate both conferences a lot.
Oh, okay. Well,
on the trans topic, they tend to say very similar things.
You're a very busy person. I tell you that. Hey, crazy busy. So how the now you recently the job thing when they cut you back because they're using the money for something else or
yeah,
something?
I can't talk about that on here.
Okay, all right. I want to ask about that. It's deep state. Who cares about themselves? Yeah, that's true. Don't let Newsom anywhere near the White House. I'd have to agree with that. That's for sure. Absolutely. Someone said means the tendency to give up trying to talk about. Here, it'd be better if you read it. It sounds like I'm stuttering.
So S𝕏ulansic is from the Dictionary of Obscure Sorrows by John Koenig. It's a book, and so this entry is and it's written like a dictionary. So this entry is S𝕏ulansic means the tendency to give up trying to talk about an experience because others can't relate to it. Causing the memory of the experience to feel almost mythical, and so it ends up. I took that word and made it into an adjective, and I began using it on social media around the time I'd stopped identifying as a trans man. I was identifying as non-binary for a while, and then that's how it came to be associated with my social media. And then it was already associated with my social media when I started making gender critical content on TikTok 6 years later. So that's how I came to be known as that. So it's a little ironic that it's my non-binary name essentially, but that never really took off. It was always mostly an online thing.
But what is non-binary exactly anyways? That means you're not one or the other, it's basically, right?
So there's a couple kinds of non-binary. There's some people are identifying as non-binary to indicate they're neither male nor female. And then other people are identifying as non-binary to indicate that they have some sort of abnormality. And then other people are identifying as non-binary because they just don't want to share whether they're male or female. And then the last group would be the people that identify as more than one person, and they have like a dissociative identity disorder kind of internal experience. And that's why so when they say they're they, them, it's that they're plural. It's not that they're neither he nor she. It's that they want you to use the pronoun to acknowledge that internally they feel fractured and like more than one person.
Some of that pronoun stuff is, my head that about blow up. Listen to someone with the weird pronouns and all that. I think it's an attention thing, if you ask me. I don't know. For some of the pronoun stuff, I don't know what you think.
That I missed that part, that last part.
The pronouns, they make up weird pronouns that don't even exist. It's stuff I can't even.
Oh yeah, so the neologistic pronouns, the zir, vir, where they want the pronouns to indicate that they're weird and different and unusual and not like anything you've seen before.
Yeah, the one guy was just basically screaming into the mic his pronouns or something like that. So my friend Dennis, I have to copy and paste those ones over about the blue light thing and red light therapy. Have you delved into any of that for any of these situations?
I don't know anything about methylene blue or red light therapy, and I know that hyperbaric oxygen has various medical uses, including treating the bends, like decompression sickness, but also there's other uses for it. I've never personally gotten it though.
Oh. Do you think you'll ever lead this group of detransers and stuff? Because they certainly attack you a lot on the left. It's like a constant thing on Twitter.
Did you say lead or leave?
Lead.
Lead.
Be a leader, like a spokesperson or something like that, type thing, or lead a conference.
I don't think that I can lead a group of detransitioners. I think I can speak for myself. We all have very different experiences. And I like to see it as more of a decentralized group of people with a common life experience that can come together and work on this problem together. And so I don't see myself as above other people, but I do try to speak out and be public about it because I already am. And it's very burdensome when you're dealing with medical trauma and medical complications to also put yourself out there.
I hear you on that. I think you'd be great at it because you know so much about it. It seems like knowledge of all the different techniques of the surgeries they have and all that. You definitely know more than anybody, and the damage it's doing to people. I know more than anybody I'm listening to at all of them. I mean, everyone knows a little bit, but you know everything. It seems like.
Right. Yes. I'm a good person to talk to if you have a question that needs an answer, and it's kind of an unusual question, and so I'm good at that. In terms of that skill set is a very different skill set from the skill set of someone like Stella O'Malley, who can actually establish an international organization and have it be wildly successful. I'm in awe of people like that, or Kelly J. Keane, like people who can really organize and lead. I'm very impressed by. I hope to maybe someday I'll be that person. Right now I'm an ideas guy and I make jokes.
Oh yeah, you're sarcastic. A lot of them. The one person said about being a male isn't a racist or a race,
Or Kara Dansky is another amazing leader that I really admire.
What was the one trying to call you a racist and says, "Oh, I didn't know being a male was a race."
Yeah, that's because I was pointing out that Brittany Griner, obviously, who's a basketball player, really looks and sounds and seems to act male, and I feel like to protect the integrity of women's sports, it's there should be an accounting for that. And instead, if you bring it up, you get called a racist and told that you're a bigot, and actually it's just a low pitched voice. It's not that it sounds male, it just sounds low pitched. It doesn't just sound low pitched, it sounds male. Come on. I can hear the difference between a cello and a tuba, even though they're both low pitched.
Yeah.
Like it's just such a gaslighting thing to say.
And it seems they seem to have a lot of fast twitch muscles too, in terms of dunking and things like that.
Yeah,
being shorter and being able to dunk. That's what's happened.
Very few people in that WNBA can dunk. The ones that can dunk have dunked once or twice, except for Brittany Griner, who's dunked at least 27 times, which is still nothing compared to the NBA.
Yeah,
but it's still there needs to be an accounting for that. That's not with all the other aspects of that point in the direction of this is a male person. This is a male human with a Y chromosome. There should be. We're not unreasonable for asking the question and for wanting there to be an explanation, especially since Griner has come out and alleged that his voice is always, and I say his because I think it's a man, has always been deep. I'm sorry, your voice has not always been that deep. It has not. Mm-hmm. So when did it drop? Babies don't sound like Brittany Griner today. Brittany Griner sounds like a grown man. Babies don't sound that way. There was some point in life where the voice changed. It has not always been that deep. So that's a lie. That's a gaslighting lie that the defenders go on and repeat.
And I brought up about the money, and they said, well, in the NBA they get paid more. Well, yeah, but would they make it to the NBA? And even if they did, they'd sit on the bench. You know what I'm saying? So they wouldn't be a starter in the NBA. I don't think. What's your opinion on that?
Who would be a starter in the NBA?
Brittany
Griner would not be competitive in the NBA. No,
there's no way.
I had some people saying, well, if Griner's really a man, why not play for the NBA because they'd make more money? It's like because they wouldn't
They
be
wouldn't make it.
competitive. Brenner would not be competitive in the NBA. That's why he's cheating.
There you go. So I
And
wouldn't
they're
be
saying,
surprised.
well, no, it's just it could just be a female who's taken testosterone. It's like they test for performance enhancing drugs. They don't test for performance disenhancing drugs. They don't test the female players for birth control, for instance, which is a performance disenhancing drug if you're male. It will make you look more feminine. So who knows? Who knows what the story actually is?
So I'm reading something that's important. Okay, Tina. Someone's watching that we both talked about. Trying to give you some clues. A young girl that you saved.
Okay.
I can't bring up their name.
All right.
I'll let her know that she's watching right now.
Oh, cool.
So, FYI. Sorry, I'm tearing up a little bit. So, you've actually absolutely saved, for those who don't know what I'm talking about, you absolutely saved someone from being forced into the surgeries and was going to kill herself and all that. The thought that she could do the surgeries and then reverse it when she got 18. And from learning from you, there's no real reversing these, is there?
No, I mean it's like if you drive your car into a lake and then reverse out of the lake, it's not going to be the same.
Well, you can't take a woman, make a false penis, and cut their boobs off and all that, and then put all that back later and make it work right. You would never.
Right, and the gender doctors tell vulnerable, naive young women this, and girls. Johanna Olsen Kennedy famously said in a video that you can go get breasts later if you decide you want breasts again. Dr. Curtis Crane of the Crane Center for Transgender Surgeries also said in a video, a completely different video too, that he has seen breasts grow back. So it's who knows how many of these more there are, because if you've seen one cockroach, it's not the only one.
Yeah, I hear you. Sorry, I'm just reading some of these. I'm going to copy and paste something over. Hold a second. I don't know what they mean. Sorry, I didn't.
You'll probably have to go in a few minutes.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Yeah.
I know. It was short notice. I don't know what they're saying. Hypermagnetic treatments are being used to treat
post-concussion syndrome and research for other brain maladies. Oh, that makes sense.
Does it?
I could see that being helpful.
Yeah, and that. Sorry, I'm a little shook up a little bit. So I haven't talked to them in a few months actually. So and just so you know, they're doing well, and they were able to get a message to their father, and that the father knows. And I'll tell you as soon as you go offline a couple things, okay? And stuff
Sounds
like
good.
that. So the whole thing was a success, and you didn't have any Democrats fighting against you at any of these hearings and stuff, meetings you had or anything.
It wasn't.
Like
they weren't. I wasn't in any hearings. They were just press conferences, and I didn't go to all of them because some of them were at the same time, and so there's other activists that were there can speak to what it was like with the other legislators that they talked to. But no, we didn't encounter anybody who was overtly opposed to us and giving us trouble, except the people outside of the Heritage Foundation were yelling at us. So there were protesters, and then there was some guy walking by who just yelled at us. So.
Are you finding less threats and stuff like that to you, or is that calmed down from the trans community, and is hopefully more are coming?
It comes in waves. It comes in waves. Occasionally, whenever I go viral, there's usually an influx, and typically I get the most threats if I go after the gender identities of famous like either actors or singers or things of that nature.
Oh, anyone with a big name of any sort, even in the YouTube type platforms and stuff like that. You should debate some of these people. Do you think that'll ever happen? Where you go?
Yeah, I've debated at least one person
that was trans.
No, he wasn't trans. He's just some guy.
Oh, okay.
And so I argue with people also over text, so people can read those debates. And then a lot of my videos.
I'm a little confused by some of them.
Debates, even though they're not real debates, they're just me responding to other people's videos.
You do have a sarcastic streak in you a little bit. Some of your comments on Twitter are funny. So look her up. I got it scrolling across the bottom. I know she's got to run. I want to tell you something as soon as we get off here. So we're gonna cut it short today. She's got to run and that. All right, take care. Maybe we'll get her back in 3 weeks or so. If I know she's crazy busy. So take care. God bless everyone.
Yeah, I'm just still worn out.
Yeah, I
Thank
hear you
you.
too. Bye bye.